What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. Hope you're all doing very well. This is the 10.1 PTR, and we are looking at the Ret Paladin tier set bonus, as well as a bunch of talent changes that have kind of happened. Mostly I want to talk about the tier set bonus and how it relates to the talent tree, and then we'll get to the dummies and we'll do some testing as well, okay? So there are some AoE implications and some single target implications to the tier set bonus and what it does. So let's just dive right into the set and see exactly what it does, because it did get changed. It got changed from what it was originally a couple of weeks ago, and it has a different kind of purpose now. We're gonna talk about it right here. Judgment and Hammer of Wrath deal 10% increased damage and 20% increased critical strike damage. Hammer of Wrath applies Judgment to enemies. This is very similar. I think it's the exact same actually as what the old 2 set was. So again, Hammer of Wrath does not throw a judgment. It just applies the judgment effect, which is simply just that your enemy will take 20% more damage from your next spender. Okay? Keep that in mind. Judgment increases the damage enemies take from your holy power spending abilities by 5%, an additional 5%. Okay? So it's 20%, now 25%. Hammer of Wrath now hits 4 nearby targets for 20% of its damage. Very interesting. So now, the 2 set bonus essentially gives us a large single target bonus increase in damage, and then the 4 set bonus gives us some AoE power as well. 5% more damage for our spenders, which is obviously going to be Divine Storm in AoE. And then your Hammer of Wrath now hits 4 additional enemies. So this is really cool, and something really important to talk about is the 2-piece bonus. So your Judgment and Hammer of Wrath are always doing 10% more damage. If they crit, they're doing 30% more damage, because they're getting the 10% more damage plus 20% more if they crit. That's really interesting, because guess what? We have a talent down here now called Vengeful Wrath that says Hammer of Wrath always crits. And then guess what? The 4-piece bonus sends Hammer of Wraths to 4 nearby enemies. So, for 20% of the damage, of course. But it's always critting. My Hammer of Wrath right now does 17.6k. Now, this is without any buffs. This is just kind of baseline what it does. It's always going to crit because of this. So it's always going to do about 34,000 damage, 35,000 damage. And then we're going to get 20% of that going to 4 nearby targets for 20% of 35k. I don't even know what that is. Let me look it up really quick. Get the calculator out. We go 35k. And then we multiply it by 0.20. It's going to do 7,000 damage to 4 nearby enemies, right? So multiply that by 4, and you're going to end up getting 28,000 extra damage. So you're going to throw 1 Hammer of Wrath. It's going to do 34,000 damage, and then another 28,000 damage spread out over 4 other targets, right? Obviously, it's going to change as we get more item level. My item level is only 412 right now. And this also goes up with Mastery. Hammer of Wrath does holy damage baseline. So you can increase your Mastery. That's going to increase the baseline damage and then the obviously spread that it does. So I'm not even taking into account, this isn't registering the 20% increased critical strike damage, right? Because I haven't hit the dummy yet with this. So it's actually going to do even more than that, because this thing's going to do 20% more damage when it crits. And it's always critting. We're going to always make it crit, right? So, I'll show you this in a second, but I just wanted you to see. Oh, actually, I guess I can throw one right now. I'll throw it right now. Watch how much damage this does. Let's go to current target. Here we go. 1 Hammer of Wrath. Okay. Ended up doing 40k almost. So that's the additional 20% bonus. It should only do about 35k. It did 40k. Now, it only hit 1 enemy there because I'm not sure exactly why. We'll have to look. No, it applied Judgment to everybody. I don't know. We'll look at that again later. I'll show you the rotation in a second. I promise it does hit more than 1 target. If it doesn't, then it's just bugged or not, but I'm pretty sure it still does. That's the first part that's important to understand, is that you can make Hammer of Wrath always crit, and I think Vengeful Wrath will be a mandatory talent. On the Judgment side of things, we want to make Judgment crit all the time as well. How do we do that? Well, I think 1 minute wings is going to become mandatory. I think Crusade is kind of just going to be in the dumpster now when 10.1 arrives, which, of course, it's arriving May 2nd or something really soon, right? May 6th, maybe? It's coming very soon. This gives you 1 minute wings, gives you 20% more crit. Very good. And then you can also take Judge, Jury, and Executioner, increasing the critical strike chance of Judgment by an additional 10%. So I have a baseline 20% crit right now. That's 40% with wings, 50% with Judge, Jury, and Executioner. So that is insane because it means that your Judgment is going to get that 20% extra critical strike damage if you can make it crit. 50% crit is absurd. You're going to be critting all the time, okay? And remember, with the talent choices now, Judgment hits 4 additional targets. It does less damage, but it's going to be critting on all of those targets as well. So you're going to be doing a ton of critting, okay? A ton of critting. And I think 1 minute wings is going to be mandatory. I think Judge, Jury, Executioner is probably what you need to do. If you weren't taking this already, you should probably take it now. Vengeful Wrath is definitely going to be mandatory, I would say. Vanguard's Momentum gains some value because you get an extra charge of Hammer of Wrath, and now it's hitting multiple enemies. So when you're at the tail end of a fight in Mythic Plus, when multiple enemies are low on health, you can just start throwing Hammer of Wrath because you're going to get it. You can cast this when you're in Execute, right? You can also cast it during Wings. You can also cast it if you get a proc from Final Verdict. So there's going to be so many ways to be able to cast Hammer of Wrath. Hammer of Wrath is always going to be critting, and then it's going to be doing 30% more damage, and it's going to be cleaving to multiple enemies. So this is the new direction that they have taken this tier set bonus for Paladin, Ret Paladin, and I think it's really good. Let me show you the AoE damage really quick here. I kind of have an AoE build kind of set in motion right here. We're just going to take a look at this. So I will go to my current fight, and I'm going to try and show you the breakdown of the damage as it happens. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So Hammer of Wrath hits multiple enemies. You can see the damage. I got Searing Light damage right now, really big. We're going to do this. Then we can do Divine Toll. Try and get as many Hammer of Wraths in as I can. Another one. Oh, okay, it's gone now. So now, in AoE, we're not going to get to cast it again. But let's say there's an enemy in Execute, like this one is right here. Well, we can actually use that to our advantage and get multiple Hammer of Wraths hitting multiple enemies, and it's really, really good. You can see the cooldown on it is incredibly low. Really, really good stuff. Here's our damage overall. We're doing 160k on 5 targets. That's pretty good. For only 412 item level. We're going to have even higher item level. Now, what this might end up doing is switching your build a little bit. You might not have time to fit in Templar strikes. Oh, lagging really hard right there. You might actually want to go and change your build to Crusading strikes, potentially, because of this new ability, this new priority on Hammer of Wrath. But you can see, we did a ridiculous amount of damage there. Divine Storm is still going to be really high. Wake of Ashes is high. Look at how high Hammer of Wrath and Judgment are. Look how many times Judgment crit. Almost 40% of the time Judgment was critting there. Oh, sorry guys, got a sub there. Hammer of Wrath critting all the time. Doing almost 50k every single time we crit because we, of course, are layering. We're getting the extra crit damage from our tier set. And then we're also doing Final Reckoning, which gives us 30% more holy damage, which Hammer of Wrath counts as holy damage. So every Hammer of Wrath was doing 50k, and then 20% of that is being spread around. That's 20... That's 10k. That's another 10k damage that gets spread all to a bunch of other enemies, right? Okay. 20% times 5. It's actually 10k times 5. It's another 50k on top of it. So it did 50k and then another 50k to other enemies. Insane damage right there. So that's the AoE build, what it kind of might look like. I think you might end up switching to Crusading strikes if you don't have time to fit in Templar strikes because you're spending so much time casting your Hammer of Wraths. You're going to cast lots of Hammer of Wraths, obviously, in Wings. Then on Mythic Plus boss fights, you might actually get the cooldown back from Final Verdict. But then you're going to be kind of hunting for enemies that are low on health, trying to cash in on the fact that you can throw a Hammer of Wrath at a low health enemy, and then, of course, it'll cleave to all those other enemies as well. Okay? That's the AoE build. Let's look at the single target build really quick here. Oh, let me switch to it. And then I want to show you on a dummy what that's kind of going to look like. So we're switching up a lot of talents here. I'm taking Art of War. I don't need AoE damage anymore from Blessed Champion. I don't need Blade of Vengeance. I'm taking Empyrean Legacy. I'm keeping Judge, Jury, Executioner. I'm going to switch into Execution Sentence down here instead of Final Reckoning. And then we're taking, obviously, Final Verdict, Jurisdiction, and then we have all this new stuff over here on the left here. Let me just move out of there for a second. So we have this new stuff on the left. So we're getting rid of Searing Light and Burning Crusade. We're going into the Holy Strike side of the tree. So we have Blades of Light, which makes everything do Holy Strike damage, basically. And then we have Divine Arbiter. Abilities that deal Holy Strike damage, which now includes Hammer of Wrath. Deal 5% increased damage, and casting abilities that deal Holy Strike damage gives you a stack of Divine Arbiter. At 25 stacks, your next single target spender will do a bunch of extra damage, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so that's kind of what we're flipping into. Okay? Vanguard's, here's the key components to this build. Vanguard's Momentum, Final Verdict giving us procs on Hammer of Wrath, and then having Wings up, of course, we can cast Hammer of Wrath multiple times. We're not going to get this boss down to low health thresholds, very likely, but we will continuously be getting our Hammer of Wrath procs back because of our Final Verdict. We are going to take Crusading Strikes, and we're going to take 2 charges of Judgment. Why? Because we want to be casting Judgment more often because of the tier set bonus, because it'll cash in on the extra damage that it gets to deal, right? Okay? Here's what this kind of looks like. Let's go to our current target once again. Here we go. We're going to go like this. Here we go. I'm doing this all poorly, but it's okay. Here we go. You'll be casting my Judgment. Now, we're also making Final Reckoning last a lot longer, which is super cool. We'll do this. Our Divine Toll is going to make us hit a couple of extra things that we wouldn't normally be hitting. 2 charges of Judgment. Very good. Now, we're hoping for Final Verdict to give us back our Hammer of Wrath. That's what we kind of want. Want to try and get Hammer of Wrath charge back as much as we possibly can. Okay, we got Final Execution Sentence back. Sorry. We've been really unlucky here. We haven't gotten a single Hammer of Wrath charge back. I'm not sure if it's bugged, honestly. Now, this is the part of the build where we have nothing to cast. So, I might want to switch up my talents a little bit here. Maybe taking, not Crusading Strikes, taking the other one is going to be better. That could be very much the case. I might have just mismanaged this, or we might have gotten incredibly unlucky, which it really kind of feels like we've gotten incredibly unlucky, I'm not going to lie. Here's Wings again. Let's go. Back into it. Now we have Hammer of Wrath going. Okay. We're going to try this test again with with Templar Strikes. Sorry, because I think it's actually better. The Crusading Strikes that we have going right now just didn't feel good at all. Okay. So we go there, and that's it. Okay, let's... That's not very good. Not very good. That's good to test this stuff. I didn't even try this beforehand, but you can see Final Verdict, huge. Hammer of Wrath, tons of damage. And Judgment, tons of damage. How many times did Judgment crit? Almost 40%, 41% of the time. Judgment is critting, and of course, Hammer of Wrath is always critting, okay? So let's switch our talent up here. Let's go to Templar Strikes. This is probably, maybe this is just better. Again, I might have just mismanaged what I was doing there, but let's just wait and see here. Let's try it again. So now we have Templar Strikes. Let's try this again. I probably just did the rotation really horribly as well, but that's just... oh, frick. No, don't attack. Don't attack. Why did you attack? Now I have to run out here again. Good lord. I gotta run really far away. Give me 1 second here. All right, we've got everything back now. Let's try this again. Are we ready? Here we go. We're going to go Wings and Execution Sentence. Here we go. Here. We'll go Divine Toll quickly. Here we go. Try and fit as much in the Execution Sentence as we can. We got a charge on Hammer of Wrath. Thank God it finally happened. Cast Judgment. Try not to override the judgments that you're getting from Divine Toll, which I think I might have done 1 there, unfortunately. It is what it is. Okay, now we're into Templar Strikes. Very good to have Templar Strikes. Here we go. Execution Sentence. Back at it. Still haven't got a proc. This has got to be like bugged out. I swear to God. It's not working very well, but that's okay. Get a Wake of Ashes into our Execution Sentence. There we go. Big damage. There we got a proc finally on our Hammer of Wrath so we can cast it. That was a Divine Arbiter proc there. You can see Divine Arbiter stacking up on the right-hand side. We're going to get Wings back here in a second, and we'll get back into a rotation. Templar Strike. Templar Strike. Let's go Wings. Here we go. Back into it. Hammer of Wrath. Execution Sentence. Hammer of Wrath. And we'll do Divine Toll. And you can see it's pretty good. It's definitely much better, I think, with Templar Strikes. Definitely feels better to me. Let's look at the damage there. So that's a lot better. Damage here. Final Verdict doing huge. Judgment. Enormous damage. Hammer of Wrath. Judgment's cheating a bit because it's hitting a couple of enemies, but this is what it's going to look like. It's going to look like Hammer of Wrath and Judgment and Final Verdict. And this is kind of the playstyle that you're going to get for single target damage. You're going to have this whole kind of combo going on here. And of course, as a reminder of the talents, you're going to be taking Final Verdict, Vanguard's Momentum giving you a second charge with Hammer of Wrath, but this is going to give you the resets on Hammer of Wrath, even though it was like abysmal, not really giving them to us much there. And then, of course, you're turning everything into Holy Strike damage with Divine Arbiter going off every once in a while. Hammer of Wrath is always critting, and you've got the extra crit for Judgment from Avenging Wrath Might and Judge, Jury, Executioner. So I think both of these builds are going to be kind of what you're looking for when you get into 10.1 with the new tier set bonus. I think it's a very cool idea. I think it's kind of simple in design, but I think it works very well. And you've got, again, Hammer of Wrath and Judgment dealing 10% more damage or 30% more damage if they're critting. You can get your crit for Judgment up to 50%, and then you can make Hammer of Wrath crit all the time. Hammer of Wrath is now hitting 4 additional enemies near your target for tons of extra damage in AoE. So I think there's a big single target buff in the 2-piece bonus and a huge AoE buff in the 4-piece bonus, which is just awesome. I think it's great. I love this set. I love the focus on Hammer of Wrath and the potentially changing your build a little bit to try and accommodate for the fact that Hammer of Wrath is going to become such an important part of your build now. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you think about these talent choices? Do you think you're going to have to choose between like Templar Strikes or Crusading Strikes? Do you think you're going to have to take Templar Strikes to get those extra hits in? Or do you think you're going to have enough Hammer of Wrath procs that you won't need to actually spend GCDs pressing Templar Strikes? I would love to know what you guys think in the comments down below. Please let me know. Thank you so much again for watching. I will have more content on Ret Paladin coming soon. Hopefully this weekend I'm going to try and get into more Mythic Plus. If they open it up again, which I'm assuming they will. But until then, I can't really do any dungeons to test this out. And but we'll try and see next weekend, okay? Thank you guys so much again for watching. Love you all. I will see you in the next one.